Hello, my name is Recep Dinçer. I am part of the Sandslash team. First of all, I want to tell you about our topic and its content. Our topic is the classification of mushrooms and make a prediction. Mushrooms are the name of a biological word that includes many multicellular and unicellular eukaryotic organisms. Although it is thought that there are 1.5 million mushroom species in the world, only 69,000 species have been identified today. In this project, we will examine the mushrooms according to their physical characteristics and the place where they grow and decide whether the mushroom is poisonous and edible. First of all, I would like to talk about some of the physical properties of the mushrooms in the dataset we selected. Let's begin. Evaluation are according to their features. First feature is cap. Cap. It is thin membrane that protects the gill and spores until the mushroom reaches full maturity and it is ready to release the spores. And then bruises. Mushroom bruising involves nicking the top and bottom of the mushroom cap and observing any color changes. Odor. Mushroom give off a rather pungent, ammonia-like odor when they are past their best. And then gill. Mushroom gills are the thin, papery structures that hang vertically under the cape. And stalk. Stipe is the stem or stalk-like feature supporting the cape of mushroom. And veil. A veil or velum in mycology is one of several structures in fungi, especially the thin membrane that covers the cape and stalk of an immature mushrooms. As a last, ring. Ring is a naturally occurring ring or arc of mushrooms. They are found mainly in forested areas but also appear in grasslands. After learning the physical properties of the mushroom, we will examine the physical properties of poisonous mushrooms. Let's start examining by habitats. Let's start by examining the habitats of poisonous mushroom. Where do these poisonous mushroom lives? The horizontal axis of the graph shows the habitat and the vertical axis the population. Poisonous mushrooms inhabit mostly D woods habitats, followed by P pads and G grasses, L leaves, and U urban, at least M meadows habitats. Percentage distribution of habitats to habitats they live in are seen on the pie chart. We see that it lives mostly in wood habitats with 32.4%. Gill and root attachment. We see the graph of the gill attachment of poisonous mushroom. Looking at the chart, almost all poisonous mushrooms have a free gill attachment. We see a graph of gill spacing of poisonous mushroom. Looking at the graphic, almost all poisonous mushrooms have close gill spacing. It is 97.1%. We see the gill size graph of poisonous mushrooms. Looking at the graph, we see that poisonous mushrooms are distributed approximately equally. It is divided into two parts. One is for the 53.2% and the other is 56.8%. In this graphic, we see gill colors of poisonous mushroom. The horizontal axis colors and the vertical axis show the distribution. We see that most of poisonous mushroom have B color, it means buff. Then we see P, pink, H, chocolate, G, gray, and others. When we look at percentage distribution, we see that almost half of it, 44.1%, is in buff color. When we look at root attributes of poisonous mushroom, we see it split into two main groups. The first one is the missing values, that is have no value in the dataset, and the second is bulbous. As seen on the pie chart, 44.9% are missing values and 47.4% are bulbous. The other feature is cap color. In this graph, we will look at the cap color distribution of poisonous mushrooms. The horizontal axis shows the colors and vertical axis shows the distribution. We see that is basically distributed over 5 primary colors. These are mostly commonly in N brown color, then E red color, G gray color, Y yellow color, and white color. We see that the percentage of these 4 basic distributions are close to each other in the pie chart. As a list, brushes. Finally, we will look at brushes. 58.4% of poisonous mushrooms do not have brushes. 41.6% of them have. Okay, as a last, we will make a comment on this chart. The horizontal axis of the graph shows whether poisonous mushrooms have brushes. It is vertical axis shows the distribution. The colors indicate that the mushrooms are edible or poisonous. If we first start from the left of the horizontal axis of the graph, we see that most mushrooms that do not have brushes are poisonous. If we examine our mushrooms that have brushes later, we see that the majority are edible mushrooms. We see that the numbers of edible and poisonous mushroom in the dataset are approximately evenly distributed. We can draw the following conclusion from here. Most of mushrooms that have brushes are poisonous. Thank you for listening.
Hello, my name is Mustafa Akgün, and I'm trying to explain my parts, edible mushrooms, and observations about the mushrooms in the project Mushroom Classification. Let's begin with edible mushrooms. We have 3 categories in here: head color, gill and root, and habitat. First, we will look for head color. We have 2 graphics in the head color. Let's go with first one. This pie chart shows what head colors do edible mushrooms have, and mostly they have brown head color, 30%, then gray follows him, but there is no clear statement for this color is much more reliable than others. In graphic 2, we have a bar chart of our recent pie chart. Let's continue with gill and root. We have 4 graphics here. Let's begin. In the first graphic, it shows the root type. We can understand this from our bar chart. Bulbous root is most reliable than the others. In graphic 2, we have the pie chart version of the recent bar chart. In graphic 3, it shows the gill size. Broad gill size is much more edible, but narrow gill size is mostly poisonous. Let's continue with graphic 4. It shows the gill spacing. There is no sign in the parts close or C, but in the white, it's mostly edible. So gill and root is over. Let's continue with habitat. We have two graphics in here. Woods are leading in this race and grasses follows. So we can understand this. Woods and the grasses are the biggest containers of edible mushrooms. In graphic 2, we have pie chart version of our bar chart. So habitat is over and edible mushrooms is over also. Let's continue with observations about the mushrooms. There's two categories here, color and poison relation, bruise and color relation. Let's start. In color and poison relation, we have two graphics. In graphic 1, it shows what gill colors do edible mushrooms have. For gill colors, there is no certainty. We can't say this is more edible or this is more poisonous with just looking this chart. In graphic 2, we have cap color bar chart. Gray and brown got some edible members, but also poisonous members. So there is no certain sign. Let's continue with bruise and color relation. There's one chart here, bar chart. There is no relation between them. In the beginning of the project, we was questioning this because this is the most significant attributes of a mushroom, bruises and color. Observing these attributes together is a good way, we think, but there is no correlation between these two attributes. So for a summary, I will talk about what is safer and what is dangerous. Let's start with cap shape. Bell type cap shape is much more safer than the others. For cap surface, fibrous looks safe, but also there is a risk for poison. So we cannot say fibrous type cap surface is really safe. So there is no safe areas in the cap surface. For gill spacing, crowded is okay. Go with the crowded if you gonna look for gill spacing. For gill size, broad looks reliable and narrow is deadly. For ring type, pendant looks good, and the large types and evanescent types are the bad guys. So if we gonna face with some large type, and evanescent type ring typed mushrooms, we need to stay away from them. If you going to look for population, abundant, clustered, numerous, scattered is safe, and several population is dangerous. So we can understand this from here. If a mushroom looks lonely or looks single, stay away from them. Bruises is the next thing we can look. In the beginning of the project, we were thinking that bruises is a sign of danger, but in the data analysis, we see that surprisingly, if there is bruises, it means it's more safe than no bruises. So bruise is a sign for edible mushroom, but it's not certain. It's just safer. For cap color, this is the biggest attribute and the last attribute. When we look for a mushroom, we are looking for the cap color first. This is the most significant attribute in a mushroom. But there is no clear statement for cap color. You can't understand a mushroom is just poisonous or edible just in first impression. You need to look detailed and you need to give attention. It's something need to be mastered. So this is our project. Thank you for watching and thank you for attention.